All right, here we go, guys. All right, so 3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 1 of Whole Future. We are here with Carter and Isaiah and myself, Miguel. Thank you guys for watching, all 5 of you probably right now, but we hope to build an audience as we continue further and talk a little bit about technology, what it means for designers and creators, and to talk a little bit about what it all looks like along the edges and what it means for you guys. So we are here, and episode 1 is talking a little bit about, Isaiah, you want to intro it?
So topics. First topic, we're going to be talking about the hardware that Apple just released, which is the Mac Pro. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what we think that's going to be looking like in the next 5 years, right?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation because it kind of delves into computing and kind of looking a little bit at computing and Apple's ecosystem and potentially maybe other ecosystems. But
well, they have been kind of absent from that area, right, for quite a long time, since 2013, where they released the trash can, and they haven't even released any iterative
trash can,
iterative updates after that. So this is their real, and they issued an apology to the pro community, if you guys remember that, in 2016, and they just literally said, hey guys, we're working on a solution, which is what the Mac Pro is, the new one, what we just got. And I mean, what do you guys think? Do you feel like it's a actual valid, like is this an actual pro solution, or do you feel like this is just another one of the trash cans?
Well, the WWDC event that just happened not long ago, it was kind of interesting because what you really saw was not just the Mac Pro, but you saw like an update across all different devices. And the feeling that I got from the Mac Pro was that it was specifically for professionals. And I think the new thing that Apple's doing that's kind of interesting is that they developed like a workflow community or a workflow team at Apple that specifically took feedback from professionals in like CG and computer graphics and production houses, audio. Like literally a team was sitting there with different departments, different teams, different companies, and
it wasn't just a one use case. Okay, let's see if it can hit this benchmark.
Yeah,
they actually like said, okay, well, let's apply this to real world scenarios.
Yeah, so they actually, I believe, if I understand correctly, Apple gave the computer in advance to certain companies like to Pixar. Use it, and when they applied it, the workflow team, which is like a new division in Apple, it took a lot of the feedback and comments and made the changes into the computer. So it is probably, I would say, a huge return to the professional community when it comes to, and the graphics or creative professional community.
Yeah.
And I guess they're really making up like what you're saying for the 2016 Mac Pro, which looked beautiful.
Well, not to completely just say that was a terrible machine.
Yeah.
It had its market of people, which was very small, but because it was pretty much, it was a Pro Mac Mini, pretty much, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's the form factor and everything like that. It was very quiet. So if you had it for audio and stuff like that, or I saw it a lot on sets where people would just whip out that thing because it's literally this big, and have a monitor that they bring along with it, and they could do like watch red footage. They could like literally look at dailies and do stuff like that with photography. Yeah. But really, that was it. You know what I mean?
I think they looked at, hey, let's make a sexy looking trash can first.
I think it was,
let's make something a computer second. And we've talked about this before, the MakerBot method, it's like, let's make a sexy machine first and a computer second. Same way with printers.
Yeah, and they probably...
But I feel with this new Mac, they took a step back in a good way to the old cheese grater on how you can upgrade this computer.
And that's exactly what I wanted to say. So remember when we went over to Disney Animation Studios?
Yes.
And we visited their location and the computers that they were using to actually make Zootopia and Big Hero 6.
Yeah, they were rendering Big Hero.
They were rendering while we were there. And they had a custom Linux system that they built across the board for all of their users that needed this power. They stopped using, wasn't there a whole row and lines of Mac Pros just sitting outside that they literally just made the transition. I think what was the last movie they used with Mac Pros was, what was before Big Hero 6? Is that Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah, I think Wreck-It Ralph.
Right? So that was Wreck-It Ralph. So they completely transitioned over to Linux and building their own systems. So I'm curious to see if they would actually look at this and say that they're going to transition over, because I know they use Maya, right? They use Maya, and it's pretty much a custom version of Maya. If you're someone who's very familiar with Maya and you came in there, you're going to be like, what the heck is this? Because it's Disney Maya, you know? It's not going to be your everyday version you download. And
it'd be really great to see and hear from any of the professional creatives that work at these companies, if you guys were part of the testing process over at Apple, you never know. Definitely comment and let us know, because we're curious to see how that process worked out.
Well, if you don't feel like commenting, you can send us a direct message on.
Yeah, just DM us.
Because we're really curious to hear how that whole process worked out, because normally Apple creates the computer based on what they think that the market needs and where it's going. And yeah, it kind of felt like the 2016 Mac Pro kind of went complete, even though it was great, it didn't quite get a strong enough response, or I didn't see enough of that computer in
it was a very niche market.
It's a super niche market.
I mean, they took their cheese grater that they had before, the aluminum cheese grater, which I still have one of those, and I love it because it's got 4 bays that you can slot in and out. It's got 4 PCI slots. It's a great machine, and you can still have PCI 3.1 Gen 2, so that's USB-C. That's the fastest 10 gigs you can get through that. And then literally an article just came out last week where you can put Thunderbolt on those machines, which never had Thunderbolt. So the 2013 Mac Pros, they had no upgradability, right?
Nope.
Right.
So there was no expansion. It was all external expansion.
Yes, exactly.
So they're going back to form where they had the ability of you to actually have a chassis and everything's housed within that chassis.
And I think that too is when they developed the trash can, they were like, oh, this thing is gonna have AO circulation.
They banked on Thunderbolt completely.
This thing is gonna have AO circulation like no other, but it thermal throttled.
We haven't even talked about the price of this new computer, but if I can get the same amount of power,
for $800 you can get a 6-core, 32 gigs of RAM. No, it's iPower resale.
Okay,
and they fully revamped this. They what's it called? Refurbish.
Yeah. Yep.
Clean it out, put a new GPU in there. You can take a Windows GPU and just shove it in there. It's not going to care. It's going to work.
Okay. Have you done that before with
That's what I have.
You have which computer? What's it?
I have a 5.1 Mac Pro with a RX 580.
That's not what year was that?
That's a 2010.
You have the 2010. Oh, okay. So older version, but that
and it has a Windows GPU, a gaming card in there, and it just works.
But the thing is, the fact that you can upgrade it, that's why it works.
Yeah, I literally said,
if you couldn't upgrade it, hence the trash can, it would be outdated in 2 years.
But as a professional, for those people that don't know, Isaiah, what do you do as a professional? What do you use it for?
Commercials, a lot of 3D rendering, and just I have a very wide workflow. So sometimes I'll be doing 3D modeling in Maya, in ZBrush.
Okay.
And then I'll be doing some stuff in Blender. It really depends on what I'm doing. A lot of the times I'm video editing, doing a lot of 4K workflows. So I just need a machine that can scale with storage capability, because that's the biggest thing with this new media. Everything is massive. So I don't have the money to be having these new drives. I just want to buy a hard drive, stick it in the machine, be able to read everything off of it, and not worry about cooling or having another power supply on the side. I just want everything contained.
Okay, so then if you had the money to buy the 2019 Mac Pro, then would you do it, and why or why not?
Yeah, so if I was in the position of buying a new computer, I definitely would buy the new Mac Pro. I want it to be for me. I want this machine to be an option for me that I can just say, okay, yeah, that's what I'm gonna buy. But I kind of have to grow with that I'm not there yet. I'm not going to be spending $6,000 just to get an entry-level machine that's probably a little bit better than what I'm at.
Okay.
Including $1,000 on the stand.
Yeah.
I would just buy the display. I wouldn't buy the stand because I have a Visa mount. So I think that's what most people would buy, right? They don't need the stand unless you need it.
But it's $6,000, right? It's like, what was the official price tag for the...
So it's $6,000 stand plus monitor.
Stand and plus, but yeah, that $1,000 stand is definitely...
Do you trust Apple Visa mounts?
I trust this new one just because of the quality of the aluminum. No one's seen it yet, so it's up for interpretation.
Right.
Are they in the Apple Store? I'm not even sure if they're even available for display at the Apple Store. Yeah,
only this fall.
See, and so all we got was just a WWDC visual of it, and just maybe a first-hand look online.
So if you were there, WWDC, I don't know if you were, because you weren't allowed to touch anything, but I think from what people have said, it looks like it's very high quality hardware.
Well, it has 6K.
And it should be.
It's a 6K display, right?
Yep.
So which is like insane because like I don't even have a 4K television yet.
I have the 5K.
Yeah, he's got
iMac 2017.
You have 5K. Okay.
But this panel is never really for a consumer panel, right? I mean, they compared it to a $43,000 Sony reference monitor.
For $6,000. Well, with the stand and everything. So, but it's still like relative. Wow, really? So that's relatively lower cost.
They're in the market.
How much is the monitor? $5,000?
The monitor's $5,000. So they're comparing it. It's actually a little bit better quality than those Sony reference monitors that you'd have on set for a movie. And really, that shows you false color. It has all this built-in stuff. The monitor is just the monitor. There's no broadcast or any standard color presets for you to look at. But if you plug that into a computer, who cares? It's $6,000. You're getting a monitor that has a 1,600 peak brightness. Yeah. So you have, that's why they said extreme HDR. You can see the highest of the whites and the lowest of the blacks.
Wow, but that sounds like you're definitely then like a video editing house, computer graphics house. So like
if you need this.
Yeah, if you consumer.
Yeah,
you're the prosumer. You're the engineer.
Yeah, you are a super engineer. Yeah, you need this for like massive power to kind of create that. So, for me personally, in my field, UX, graphic design, I would probably not use that unless I'm going into editing and audio. So the only thing I can appreciate about it is just the industrial design or product design about it, which is pretty cool. I mean, even though it talks about being like a cheese grater and everything like that, if you really kind of look at just the purpose of it, it looks like a cheese grater, but really it's there just to allow for airflow, within all directions, into the device. And of course it's customizable. So the only way you can do it is to kind of set it up the way a standard computer is, which is like you have to pull it out.
Proper airflow. This one.
No, it's literally if they took the 2010, the 2012 Mac, it's pretty much the design from 2006 when they released the G5.
Yeah.
When they did that first design, right, back in 2005.
Wow, G5s.
And that design was revolutionary because it lasted 10 years.
Yeah, I had a G3, then the G5.
When they did
college those days, and man, those computers, they were really great. And then they were customizable, you could pull them out and everything. They were perfect.
If you think about it, what they were doing at the time, it's not, people are complaining about the price, but really.
Okay, who's complaining about the price?
Well, people,
the consumer.
People who want to buy a $1,000 iMac.
Yeah, but if you're a company like a Pixar or a computer graphics company,
it doesn't
even matter.
You're already spending $10,000 on like a GPU. It's not going to be a problem that you have to.
Yeah, so if anything, it's really just Apple's like return to the professional market and just kind of like fixing that area, I guess, from where it kind of pulled away from, because it's really hard. It's really hard to to offer something that's more powerful but also looks just as good. Also, according to their standards of like design and
their primary net, all they're getting their money from is iPhone, iPad. Right? It's mobile market. Yeah. So really, they don't need to be in this space to make money, right? This is really. Yeah. But if you really think about it, how they got started was being as a professional company, right?
Yeah, and you're kind of hitting on something there because that kind of crossed my mind too when as I was kind of planning for this episode, because I was thinking to myself, you know what? Apple's core market is computers and desktop computers, which is the Mac.
Yeah.
And so, Steve Jobs was always like, okay, here's our core product, the Mac. Then they kind of branched out, obviously, into making laptops and then desktops, and then the mobile phone came along.
iPod.
And the iPod and everything like that. But their core business was desktop computers, and now
it was the hardware and software working together. Which was never been done before, because before everyone with Windows, you pay for your license and then you say, okay, I have this hardware to go with this Windows license.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's really the software. If you think about it, like even Steve Jobs said it too. Like he's like really hardware is really like
secondary.
Is secondary. It's really all about the software. So software. To this day, the object-oriented programming is still part of like the Apple ecosystem, and it really it's at the core. And this is like software that was like created back in like the 90s, kind of stems back.
Yeah, concepts that have been age old.
Yeah, like age old concepts. And the reason I'm going into object-oriented programming is because I was listening to another podcast that talked about like the Steve Jobs previous company, which was Next, and how really the Next company, the core innovation that came out of that company was the operating system, and which was Next OS, I think it was called, which Apple bought, and they brought it into their computer, and then
Xerox developed the GUI.
Yeah, Xerox. Yeah, and so we're getting historical here. This is where it gets exciting. So Xerox PARC created the object-oriented programming. Okay, and what that basically means is like when I can click onto something, click on a window, and it looks like a little icon. It's on our phones and everything.
If you guys don't know what a terminal is, it's just lines of code.
Yeah,
and you'd have to literally tell tell the computer what you wanted to do. It would run the sequence. And then you get a spit of code back, right?
Right.
Or you have it print out something on your printer,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was no visual thing that you're used to on your phone where you can just tap an icon. There was, there was no GUI, graphical user interface.
Right.
It wasn't a thing.
And I guess Steve saw that and applied this. He took the idea, which was like sort of like a raw beginning of it, and then like really fleshed it out and made it really better. So he turned it into like a really great product for the market. And I think that was actually one of Apple's innovations, is that they could take a basic idea and they can really complete the idea to make it like product ready for the market. So the OS, to this day, that OS system that started at Xerox, that Apple took and developed, and and then of course Steve got kicked out of Apple, and then he further developed the OS of object-oriented programming at the next company, which was Next. At the next company, which was Next, at Next, and then Apple bought the company out and incorporated that software to that. What's the point? The point is that to this very day, the core, whatever product or
the
computer,
core vein.
Yeah, like the core vein of it all is that the software is there, and even like the Mac Pro is still using that software, but the Mac Pro desktop computer, it just seems like they have to make sure that they're still
it's a main pillar. If you look
at a good desktop computer, but it just feels like
you remember when
it's more professional now than it is.
Well, it's back to what it was before. Like when they released the G5, there was no computer out there that could compete, right? Unless you're going like quantum, not quantum, supercomputers, like those big server arrays.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there was no computer that just was like, okay, here you go. Even
push this button, take it out. Push this button, take a new one in.
If you look at the computer commercials back then, it was literally like revolutionary, next generation. It was like blowing up houses and stuff.
Introducing the Power Mac G5, the world's fastest, most powerful personal computer.
Stuff like to show you, okay, this is a very expensive and powerful computer.
Yeah, but just looking at the Mac Pro today, like, do you think that it's a return to like the desktop computer?
Yeah, I think Steve Jobs, when he said the four main key parts, remember he did that grid?
Yeah.
That was the incorporation, right, of having a professional system.
Yeah, well, yeah, I agree. It has to be a powerful computer. It's got to look great. It's just so interesting that it's definitely more like it's a return to that.
I mean, do you think Tim Cook was like? Who do you think at Apple was the main person behind this, or was it just Johnny Ives, just like, hey guys, I haven't designed a nice computer in a while. Can I go at it?
I don't think it was that. I think they just want to serve their customers well, and if consumers are using devices in their pockets, and that's great, right?
Yeah.
And you have your your laptop users, which is great. I'm more of the laptop.
Yeah, but where's the legacy come from,
professional?
Right?
Yeah,
the
exactly.
The legacy is key.
And then you look at the desktop computer. Like for a minute there, the desktop computer was definitely not on a consumer level.
It was not their interest, I don't think, right, Carter?
Yeah, and now it's pushing into a niche professional market, and so is that where desktop computing is going now, or desktop computer specifically at Apple? Is it now just more niche, high professional grade, or is there maybe the Mac Mini is probably the best example of like desktop computers on a consumer level, probably, huh? Like the Apple Mini.
Well,
or like
their whole
Not
lineup.
just laptops in general.
Yeah. Well, they focused mostly on their laptops. They didn't even think about the Mac Mini until 2016, where they revamped it. Like 2014 was the last time that they did it.
I don't think this has anything to do with the consumers. I think this is, like I said, prosumer.
It was definitely
this is not.
It was a need, and they filled it.
Yeah, they didn't need to do this. They wanted to do this. They wanted to bring this to market. You can build that same computer if you want using Windows.
I mean, yes, but you're not going to get that Thunderbolt PCI integration that they developed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, how they have 4 GPUs in a space like that's all air cooled. Like, come on, you're not going to be able to do that.
No, you can't.
And have that tight integration with the hardware, right?
I think the best part of this computer, for me at least, as a consumer, not a prosumer, is the bezel-less display. Like, yes, it's $5,000, but I've been wanting a bezel-less display forever, and now we finally have one for Apple, and it looks awesome. My Mac 2017 5K iMac it's awesome. It runs. The biggest gripe I have with it is that like 1 inch giant bezel that they haven't gotten rid of for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And forever.
Well, ever since the 2009 iMac, and if you go even farther back than that, then you have the plastic one. So it's just this giant bezel, and now it's gone with this new display. And yes, it's $5,000, but this is what Apple is going. Do you think that because they have that pro level display, which they've always had their cinema displays? I still use an old 23-inch cinema display just because I love how warm the colors are for video. I think that's so cool, and I can't give it up yet because I love it. But do you think that this is gonna start a trend in Apple, where the new iMacs, the new MacBook Pros, just like their iPads and iPhones have come to that bezel-less, I feel like everything's going to go to that point, right?
Absolutely.
For prosumer?
Or consumer.
Because it's going to trickle down, right? So you got your professional $6,000 display.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a change coming within their whole line.
I think that's the only way to go. I think that's the same thing like we saw with the new iPads. We saw with the new iPads we saw with the new iPads, and it has USB-C.
Yeah.
And
now they're opening that up with the new iOS 13.
Exactly. And it's slowly going to be this trickle-down effect. We're going to see iPhones integrate it. The laptops are already integrated it.
I mean, your iPhone is probably as or more powerful in some instances as your iMac, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's just like Apple's ecosystem, right? Like not everyone's going to need a prosumer computer. Not everyone's going to need a Mac Mini. But to some scale, some people are going to need that level of computing power in their world, and it just feels like they're trying to do that at all levels with like the watch, and even more, and definitely in the iPhones as well.
It was like when the first iPod came out.
First iPod came out 2003, right?
2003.
Yeah.
We can put 10 megs in your pocket. Great.
Well,
now we can put 512 gigabytes in your pocket. That's where the future's heading.
Did you guys see?
As we just go, watch phones get to 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes,
and that's scientifically proven too, right? Like if you take the computing power, we should do an episode on that, just to talk about like the exponential rate and the curve on technology.
I forget what the name of that is.
But the short form, or the quick response for those that don't know, is that if you look at the cost of like computers being made and the computing power that goes into it, it's like every year it goes down by it's twice as fast at half the cost.
Yep.
And
China.
And so you can follow that curve, and but so it goes faster and faster, right? So that based on that curve, that exponential curve, like it'll be 10 years and our phones will probably be like 100 generations.
My watch has
like,
more power than the Apollo 13.
Yeah, there's more computer power in our pocket, in our wrists now, than like sending men on the moon.
But yet we haven't gone to Mars yet. Think about that for a second. That's way off topic. But
we're using AI to get there, so.
Augmented to the moon in the 70s, and it's 2019.
Well, I think everyone's like, okay, we got to the moon, right? What's next? I mean, we did it.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, okay, what's the next thing? I mean, that's every 50 years that they have to
probably,
it's like that turnover where people forget.
But so I feel like we're kind of coming a little bit close to the end and derailing here. But
okay, so let's get back to it.
So let's come down.
Professional headroom for that new Mac Pro. Do you see it being a place where studios now are going to have that power that they probably didn't have before?
Yes.
Where they literally bring it in, right?
Yeah.
And they can literally do stuff real time.
Yeah, I think when it comes to professional use,
like a terabyte and a half of RAM.
I think that for me personally, I don't think I will use that computer. If I had that much power, I would definitely use it if it was at my disposal.
So let's terabyte. No, that's a terabyte.
Yeah, theoretically, memory? Yes. Right now, they can't actually supply the memory because they haven't built it. Mm-hmm. But its capacity, its end capacity is 2 terabytes of memory, of RAM. Random access memory.
Yeah, and so that being said, obviously, like I think a professional.
This is you buy it and you hold on to it because it's gonna keep going up.
Yeah, I think a professional would definitely want to use this computer.
I have what 42 gigs of RAM in my computer.
Yeah.
36, something like that.
Totally.
And that's unnecessary. That is.
Well, yeah, that
is way unnecessary to have that much RAM into a computer.
But if you're doing analytics,
you have 2 terabytes of RAM. What are you doing on your machine? Like 5 years down the road, a terabyte of RAM will be needed.
That's going to be what a phone has.
Right, exactly.
10 years from now, 4 gigabytes of RAM today is the standard, or 8 gigabytes of RAM today.
Yeah, so think about it. What megabytes were back then?
Like a terabyte of RAM will be the
kilobytes,
standard.
megabytes, gigabytes.
Yeah,
megabytes, gigabytes are becoming the new megabyte.
Okay.
Exactly.
So kind of like going back and kind of wrapping it up a little bit, guys.
Yes.
So let's say so let's kind of like break this down. So on let's say a scale of 1 to 10. So scale of 1 to 10, if I am a professional, what kind of professional am I? Let's identify that. Am I a videographer, a computer graphics animator? What industry am I in for this computer? What would you say that would be?
I would say audio, video, and CG graphics. Those are the 3 main that I can tell. Okay. I mean, obviously, with that much memory, you're going to also look into probably analytics for space travel, and you're going to be doing stuff with a lot of math if you're going to have that much memory that it can cache. Okay. So people in the math community are going to love this machine that you can just literally send an instance to run, and it's going to come back within a minute, and you're going to be
like researchers also in there. Okay.
I think
big data pools.
Gotcha. Okay, so
I think it's going to be. I think I have two different things. I think if you're a visual storyteller, you can do the tower and the monitor, which is a lot of money. If you're a small mom and pop shop, probably do it.
Well, you're not going to be like running a Squarespace off of this thing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
You're gonna have to equate
I'm talking about like, a store, like a Kickstarter, like a startup. Like if a startup needed this.
Oh yeah, totally. So a startup.
But visual storytelling. If you're doing CAD work and stuff, you probably don't need that. I'm
this
just
is-
looking at from 3D rendering.
Yeah,
and
you're
stuff.
gonna. This is for animators.
Yeah.
This is for people who are working
Now,
with big scenes.
With that being said, I was talking about both the towel and the monitor.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
If you're not doing visual storytelling and you're doing mostly CAD and mostly,
You're not going to need the 6K display.
you're not going to need the 6K display.
I mean, it's nice.
You can just use an off the shelf. You can use a higher end display for cheaper, but you're not going to need the $5,000 monitor. I would say just go with the towel.
yeah, and like a UX user interface or a computer or graphic designer, I don't think this computer is going to be really for you. I mean, you can get a laptop like a MacBook or anything and it'll do just fine.
2014 MacBook Pro 15 inch is going to be just fine.
Yeah, you could do something. You could get those type of devices, and then you'll be just fine. So
Get the new Dell ThinkPad. That's a great machine.
right, and so I don't think that for that community that this device or this Mac Pro would be of a benefit. I would say.
I would think
Okay.
if you're in the market for a computer and you're questioning like, okay, which one should I buy? And you have $6,000 to spend just on a computer, not the monitor. We're not talking about that
Right.
because that's separate. Because you're gonna be spending 12 grand, right? Just to
Yeah.
get started. Like that's
Yeah.
just let's put that into perspective. If you their package on their website, monitor plus computer, 12 grand.
Yeah. So
Which is insane.
right. So I think so you have to be a very niche a company that needs that much computing power, that much visual power, and so I think. For enterprise, this is a computer that can definitely help for enterprises.
It's scalable though. So
And-
you're gonna buy this and you're gonna be able to upgrade it from 10 years from now.
Right. And you can even get multiple and get more computing power out of it. And I think that's kind of this trend that we're going. Enterprises need more computing power, more data. And so I think it could be I think it's a good assumption to say that Apple is getting ready to they probably are setting themselves up so that if enterprises are getting more and more data into their infrastructure, they're probably going to need a computer that can handle the load. And it might be starting off now as a computer graphics or research level, but I think, and as we go further into the future, I think that this computer is going to evolve into being more like, like a server or more computing power for servers and for their systems and for infrastructure to hold that much data and processing. So it's probably going to evolve from a graphics and audio perspective, possibly into other areas. And that's probably something that's going to come down the line.
Yeah.
Full price, $12,000 for the base model. Is that correct?
So you're gonna get what is it, 5,000 something, whatever, 506, whatever thousand. That's just the computer, 32 gigs of RAM with a basic graphics card with a 8-core CPU or something like that.
I believe so.
I think so. You're gonna be able to upgrade the CPU. You're gonna be able to upgrade the GPU. So it's really, you can build it yourself because it's PCI, right? So if you're a data analytics person, you're going to want to have a more beefy CPU and more memory. You're not going to really care about the graphics card. You're not going to care about that professional renderer for ProRes, that chip that does that. You're not going to care about all that.
Yeah.
So you're going to build it for your use case, and then that's going to be priced out for what you need.
Yeah. And so it
You're not
definitely
going to need that display. It's not going to be $12,000.
So it definitely feels like it's definitely like it's a niche product, but and it has a potential to expand into other areas of infrastructure that Apple has yet to identify. But they're setting there's some.
You're going to know if you're going to need
up.
this machine. Let's just say that if you're in the area where you're questioning, oh, should I get 1 terabyte of memory or 2, then you're going to need this computer. And I'm really excited what this means for the industry. So what competitors are going to also bring to the table.
Yeah.
To compete against this. So I'm excited from offerings from Windows and Linux, how hardware manufacturers are going to be able to actually bring themselves into this space.
Also,
Very cool.
as of right now, we just know that this computer only takes AMD cards. They don't take.
No, they take NVIDIA.
They do.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's PCI, so it's going to take any graphics card you want.
Okay.
It just
Very cool.
I have a friend of mine. He has a Mac Pro, and he just puts in his 2 what is it, Titan X's in there,
Gotcha.
and it works just fine.
Perfect. Okay. So that being said, I think we're kind of close to the end of this one.
Yeah. So
but-
let's end it on this.
Okay.
If you guys were given this machine, what would you do with it, or would you do to return it because you're like, this is too much, and I'm not gonna be able to utilize it?
A good question. So, okay, as a UX UI graphic designer, I would probably say, even for educator, I would say that this is like way too much power to have. And I would probably use it to explore like video, maybe computer graphics because now I have the capability of doing that. I don't know, but it still doesn't change the fact that like I still got to learn how to use the software first in order to do it. So it'll probably help me speed up my learning time because I'm not waiting for the computer to render that much.
Yeah, your ceiling is so up here that you're down here.
Yeah, so this computer, if I was to invest, then this computer would probably help me to learn CG graphics maybe a little bit better at a faster rate because the machine can render faster. And so I would use it for maybe that purpose. That's probably the most I would probably get out of it. Maybe audio, but more so like CG since it's easier. It's easier to kind of go into CG and kind of build off from that. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, just to have this be a Blender machine and then also do videos that I know I can have up to, they said 8 streams or is it 6 streams of 8K?
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy.
Okay.
Or is it 3 streams of 8K? Yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay.
well, yeah, whatever.
Okay. So that would be
the fact that you have that headroom.
Yeah.
I just love it, and I know that I'm not going to be bottlenecked by my machine, which every creator loves to hear that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there's a huge price tag to attribute that. But
that's huge.
I mean, if you were just giving it, yeah.
And Carter, how about you for like just CAD modeling and whatnot?
There's no way I would get this machine.
Okay.
For me at least, if I did video editing, maybe, probably not. How much storage does it have?
Probably like 256.
Gigabytes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for a baseline machine that costs the total package is $12,000, and you only get 256 gigabytes of storage. To me, that I can't. I would get a cheaper Mac and get a RAID system.
Yeah, Pegasus or something like that. They do offer. Pegasus is bringing a promised RAID that's going to slot into the machine. It's going to have 4 bays or something like that.
I just because the amount of thing. Here's how Apple's marketing on this is brilliant, but also the kind of if it is only 256, right?
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous for a $6,000 machine.
What you can render on this machine and what you can put on this machine, as soon as you put it on the computer, it will max out the storage.
Yeah, automatically.
Automatically. It doesn't even matter. Now, I'm sure they designed this computer to integrate with RAID systems instantly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what prosumers do. They have RAID systems and they just...
Yeah, I think someone who's in the industry is going to be like, okay, I just put this on my desk. I already have 84 terabytes of backup storage.
And that's just to go off the point that this is not a consumer machine. This is not... I would never get this machine personally. 1, I don't have the money to spend. 2, I don't need it performance-wise.
Okay.
And,
yeah, your iMac right now is amazing.
Fine.
And you have a very high-spec one, too.
Yeah, and it's just... There's no way I would buy $1,000 on the stand.
Okay. All right. Well, then, so that probably that kind of helps us determine it. So probably 1 yes, but
I mean, I wouldn't buy it. But if I was given it, I'd be like, yeah, of course I would utilize this
because it helps you there.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna go out and spend the money.
Oh, okay. But if you did, it'd be 1 yes and 2 no's there.
Yeah.
Essentially, if we had the money to do that.
If I was given it, I would absolutely take it.
Of course, right.
But
okay.
No.
All right. Awesome. All right. Well, then, I think that kind of wraps it up on the Mac Pro review. If you guys got your hands on one, or if you're probably the person or
if you're gonna be buying one,
and justify that, definitely let us know. Or if you were part of the team or you were one of the companies that were being tested by Apple to test out this machine, let us know in the comments below what that process was like, because we're really curious to know how that.
Or DM us. If you feel better doing that.
Okay. Very cool. All right, guys. So I think that about wraps it up for episode 1. Again, thanks to the 5 people that are watching. We hope to acquire more subscribers.
There was 1.
There you go. There you go. So if you like this and you have comments, we're getting better as we go. Definitely comment below, follow us.
Yeah, put any inquiries that you have. If you want to just direct it to one of us, or just kind of as a group, just
if you have a question, definitely feel free. We hope to bring you guys a lot more value as we continue.
And if you're like, hey, I want to see a video on this topic, just give us video ideas down below as well, because we're new to this and we want to hear what you guys want to watch.
Yeah.
You guys are the ones consuming it.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching again. We really appreciate your time on watching this. And so I'm Miguel.
I'm Isaiah.
I'm Carl.
This is the whole future.
Peace.